somebody from Chester was doing something, and they came down here, and somebody referred them to me. So he started giving us stuff, and then he wanted to retire. So now I go up Chester and took his place, and I go to all these different other places. So now we got Wegmans, 2 Trader Joe's, Giant store, and what was that one? Giants, 2 Trader Joe's, 2 Wegmans. Okay, so we got 2 Wegmans in the Giant. Okay, so that's the 5 stores. We also pick up from New Jersey Turnpike rest stops. We got 2 of those. We just acquired 2 more Wawa's over there. We got Annie Pretzels. So we pick up all the time.
And these are things that they would discard.
Right.
Okay.
Right. Well, they don't sell. So a lot of stuff isn't bad. Now they're getting, so we have a lot of organic stuff, a lot of very ritzy stuff, and even, it made the people, right, it's just high end. So the people, when they come there, like, cheesecake, they're seeing stuff like, oh my God! So they see
couldn't afford to get
right, but they're still eating quality, good stuff, and now they're starting. Eyes on Christ, mainly a disciple ministry, which is to help you go out. In all my ministries, I have no membership. There is no membership because I want you to do what God called you to do. I don't want you to get caught under my vision and not see His vision for you.
Amen.
This is just to show you that when God gives you something, He will give you the provisions for it. And somebody gave us, they was picking up at Sam Club and was giving us TVs and giving us different stuff. The hospital was giving us beds. We're walking around literally. I think one week I had got like 5 of those big screen wheel TVs, and I'm just going around the neighborhood. Anybody want a TV? They're like, what the? That was just like,
wow.
Because when he gives me so much stuff,
you give it free.
And it's like, I recognize what's not for me and what is for me.
Okay.
So when people call and say, oh, I need this, I'm like, oh, I got it right over there. My mom had 5 TVs that were in a box, never been opened, sitting in her house. And my niece came over. She said, oh, Uncle Jimmy, I need a TV. I said, all right, here go one. And when you go to college, here go another one. And when you get married, there go another. Like, take these TVs.
Yeah, out of here. Wow.
Because God said in Genesis chapter 12, when He was telling Abraham, He said, I will bless those that bless you.
Yeah.
And what God was showing me was, too many times we're looking for somebody to bless us. And what God said, I will bless those that bless you, meaning I will give you a case of sodas, but go give Abraham one.
At least one. At least share.
Right. So if we want to sit back, either we want to sit back and wait for somebody to give us a blessing, or we can be the ones that God give the blessings to give.
Yeah.
See, I don't want to wait on you who's waiting on God when I could be the one.
Yes, and right there. And just doing what God calls you to do.
Right.
And again, we know that He is soon to come, and we don't have time to waste and to sit and wait, So if He's given you to go and give it to somebody,
Oh, this is one key thing He said to me that blew me away. He said, James, stop telling people you waiting on me, because I live in eternity, you live in time.
Okay. You said, yes, Lord.
I said, okay, I got you guys.
Yes, Lord. Oh, this is good. And again, we haven't even covered a 10th of the things you're doing. I just want to fast forward, though. I think this is really, really significant in that you're involved with the library opening on Route 9. Again, I just drove past there and peeked in because it was closed when I went. But you were responsible for the historic board?
Yes.
Okay.
We have 5 historical panels. Well, it was somebody else's project, but somebody told them that I live in that area. Okay. So they said, well, you should get James at least. Because I was working on another county project with the farmers market.
Okay.
And so I came in and they was trying to tell me what they was doing. I said, well, that's not really going to depict our neighborhood. These are the key things in our neighborhood, the staples, different things like this. And so it ended up, they gave me the project. So one was based on neighborhoods, the history of our neighborhood, the community, how it came about. So it shows you even back then the ads for houses,
Mhm.
they were $6,000,
Yes.
$7,000, you know,
Gone are
just
the days. Yeah.
and finding out the reason why they built Oakmont was built for white sandblack,
Mhm.
because across Route 9 on one side was all white and on the other side was
Okay.
all black.
Okay.
So they made Rosegate and they made Oakmont, and they were supposed to be the ones that was going to break
Okay.
those barriers.
Divide. Okay.
That and that's why the houses were built up and looked nice, because they was trying to attract.
Oh, okay. Okay.
It would make it attraction to.
Okay.
So that was history. And then the next one was congregations. In that 2 mile radius, we have 59 churches. In that 2 mile
2
radius,
miles.
59 churches.
Wow.
And so basically we could only show but so many. So we pretty much showed the founding churches that was actually
Okay.
really there for a long time, which was Holloway Terrace and Holloway Terrace Baptist, Coleman Church, and Presbyterian Community. And then it was the bridge, the New Jersey Bridge. It was actually built because Wilmington Shopping Center was building up in Wilmington, and they wanted people from Jersey to come
Be
over.
able to come. Yeah.
The ferry was too long to wait for in line, so they built the one span to come over. And on their first day, they made $17,500
They said,
on the
this
first
was
day.
a good idea.
Right. And it
Wow.
was so much traffic that's when they started building the
Okay.
second span.
Wow.
So that was that. And then we had education. So the education in that 2 mile radius, we had elementary school, a middle school, and a high school, which was Delaware. And in I think around 1978, they started the busing students out. So they ended up closing our high school and making it a middle school. And then they closed our middle school and made it an industrial park. And that was kind of like the decline of our community.
Yeah.
Because
Wow. No more schools.
well, the thing of it was, in our community, if the principal said, "I'm about to call your mom," our mother
Mom was
can
right
walk
down the
to our
street,
school.
right?
So
Right.
a lot of us stayed in place
Yes.
because, hey, mama didn't play. She beat you in the class or she beat you outside the
Okay.
class. So, we ain't had no time for
Right.
that stuff.
Right.
So when they took that out, that really damaged our community. And then we had, and then the last board was actually places. So the staples in our Bolarama.
Yes.
I'm
Which I
always mentioning
finally
Bolarama. Bolarama, the neighborhood sub shop. And then it was also a house that was deemed the castle in Oakmont.
Yes.
And it was called Dunleaf Mansion. And the Rogers, they owned all this land that Dunleaf built on, Rose Hill built on, the school was built on. That's how we got Rogers Road. A lot of people didn't know where,
Wow, the history is so important. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
So yes, really, I'm not a history major. I think I graduated with a D in history. I
But
couldn't
now
stand
he's
history.
a historian, right?
And once again, I know it was God.
Yes.
Because even
Praise the
how
Lord.
I got in the county, it was God. So when you look at that long list of stuff, everything that's being done is done in the spirit.
Yeah.
Because it ain't me. I like watching Law and Order. I just watch Law and Order. So, but when the Spirit of God moves me to do something, it doesn't take as long as people think it is. And even though that might seem like a lot, when you're in the Spirit, because God moves in eternity and we move in time, He did everything in 7 days. That's a spirit move.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
So.
And just before we have run out of time, this is probably going to be part 1, part 2, part 3. But you're an author. And,
Yes.
And we won't be able to tell all the books at this segment, but we will do it again.
Okay.
But say for our audience, how many books you have written?
58 books.
58.
Total of 58 books and workshop books all together.
And I'm still negotiating. I'm still working through the one. Praise the Lord. And again, when God is in it, when He's ready. Because again, sometimes he takes a number, and other things just like that.
Right.
So for 50, how many books?
58 books.
58.
In my clothing line.
And a clothing line.
Walking on water, clothing wear.
So 58 books. We have a clothing line. We have over 20 some ministries, businesses. God just gave you this.
Yes.
Because he knew that you would do the work and that he could speak to your heart and you would follow him. You know, again, our lives has already been written. He knew, okay, I put James here for all of this. You know, but again, just to see it for myself, you know, I needed to be there and to see it. And my heart was just blessed.
Amen.
Blessed. He also, our first meeting, I just one of our sister hosts brought you to one of the meetings that we were attending, and you had flowers left over, right?
Yes.
So he comes in, he introduces, and goes back out, comes back in with all of these bouquets of flowers. There was enough for every lady there, right?
God is precise.
You didn't know how many
Didn't
people,
know.
but there was a bouquet of flowers for every woman that was there. And of course, you know, we're like, oh, you know, and it was just beautiful that you did that. I thought that was just, you know, I came home, so look what we got, you know. But it was just so sweet, I think, just to get blessed in that way. You know, it's God knows what we want. He knows what we need. And, you know, to the needs, he promised that. And just sometimes when he just says, here, my daughter.
Right.
You know, here, my brother, you know, my son. For me, it's just always a sweet moment. So I'm just so grateful for you listening for the voice of God to
Amen.
do what he says do. Now, how can we contact you for the thousands of things that you do? How do we contact you?
I say the best way is to call me. 302-494-0840. That's 302-494-0840. A lot of things that are happening, God is holding back because he wants everybody to understand that it's not the money from the book, so he hasn't released them. It's not the money from the clothing line. He hasn't released them. And he does that because he wants us to know him.
It's him, yeah.
See, all this stuff is not moved because I got money sitting behind. Right now, I right now I just had to get a blessing just to get my car inspected today. But the way he blessed me to still let me know I'm there. This stuff is about the past, and it's just going to be a tsunami of wealth that's about to come in. But we have to know it's coming from him. You have to know it's coming from him.
Give him the glory.
Yes, that's all he wants. So.
Yeah, praise the Lord. Again, this is just wonderful. I love to see what God is doing. It's always our pleasure to meet and talk to people. Again, this is the Extraordinary People broadcast. So we bring on people who are doing extraordinary things for God. Right?
Yes.
And you are one of them. What are the questions?
So I wanted this last one that you said, is there a word?
Oh, yeah. Well, I didn't get to that yet.
Oh, okay.
I knew there was something.
Okay. I was like, oh, this is going to be good.
No. No. Because there is a word.
Yes.
There is a word. And there is, this is a general word today. Because there are men and women who are in the vineyard, who are working and laboring. And it's like, God, you know, you said this is, you know, things would happen and nothing's happening. But is there a word for us today? Again, because God is moving, and sometimes we miss it even. You know, we don't want to miss the call of God. We don't want to miss the move of God. But is there a word of inspiration, word of motivation, a word of knowledge for the people of God today?
Yes. This is with something when he gave me Walking on Water, Inner Praise. This was something that he gave me that would help me go through this. He said, your past misery must become your present maturity for your future ministry.
Say that again.
Your past misery must become your present maturity for your future ministry. And I was just like, God, what are you talking about? He said, all the misery and pain that you've been through, it got to become maturity to where you're able to talk about it with it not hurting
without
you.
The pain. Yeah.
And what you'll start realizing is that it's ministry. When, and this is a quick story, God told me to go up to the senior home to cut my grandmother's toenails, which, what? But anyway, I went, he
Yeah.
said it.
Wow.
And they said, we was waiting for somebody to come from your family to ride with her in the ambulance because she got a doctor's appointment. We just can't send her. And I was like, well, I'm just here to cut her toenails. That's what he said.
Take a ride.
Right. And she said, well, she got to go. And I was like, okay. So I get in the ambulance with her. And so we're driving, and my grandmother, she passed away, but she said, she was just like, oh, talking to the driver, this is my grandson, and he wrote these books, and he got a clothing line, and he just do so much work for the Lord. She was just going on and on. So the driver, he says, man, I wish God could use me. And I said, why can't God use you? He said, I got 5 kids by 5 different women. I said, well, I got 7 kids by 7 different women.
Wow.
My past misery
yeah.
becomes my present maturity for my future ministry.
Yes.
I didn't know this guy. So I start pulling out the pictures of my kids, just giving it to him like I'm passing cards, like we're about to play some Jim Rummage. So I'm passing, and he's looking at them, and then he stops and said, is her name Jasmine? And I said, yeah, that's my daughter. He said, that's my best friend's Rob's niece. And I was like, what? And he said, yeah. He said, I didn't know you was her dad. You know, just like, wow. And God came to me at that moment and said, see, when you don't share and you try to cover up, and when he said he had 5 kids and you didn't say anything, and one day you went to pick up Jazz and he saw you, and y'all would have walked out.
Yes.
You know, Jazz's mom would have, if he would have said, she would have said, oh no, he got this many kids by this many women. And he would have said, like, really? And he's a Christian?
My.
So when God gave me that quote, that's the key thing about this. It's not about us telling our business. See, once we is bought with a price, it's his business. These are his stories. This is his glory. And people need to know where he can save you at any point in time or any way he wants to do it, because he's God.
He's God.
He don't care if you don't come to church. He talked to me on a picket line. Only time I respect the guy when I turned down my rap music when I passed by a church. That was a respect I gave God. But yet and still, he chose you before you chose him. He loved you since the foundations of the world. He knitted every last one of your hairs together because you are unique and special, and you have so much to provide to the world that God has already put in you.
Praise the
So, you know, that's just my message, and you know.
So my past misery becomes my present maturity for
my future ministry.
That was a word. Amen. Because if he can use us, he can use anybody, right? Use me, Lord. Praise the Lord. This has been James Edward Parker II. And again, so many ministries, but walking on water.
Yes.
Inner praise.
Inner praise.
That's going to inner praise. But and again, in all of these subsequent businesses and ministries that fall under the auspice of that.
Yes.
It's on a great work in the kingdom. It's been our pleasure. Certainly, you know, I can't wait for what God's going to do. And that's our time again. But this has been the Extraordinary People broadcast. I'm Brenda Divers, your host, co-founder of Heart Ministry Radio Network. Visit us often at heartministryradio.com. I'm telling you, if you're not, you're missing it. There's so much going on. James, thank you. Thank you for coming. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for the work that you're doing. To God be the glory. Praise the Lord. We'll see you again real soon.